Welcome to another episode of Transformation Time. My name is Diana Lizarazo, and today's guest speaker is Paulina Bokiej. Now, on our Transformation Time, we do it every Thursday. It's either Transformation Time or Behind the Scenes. And before we get started on this amazing conversation, I just want to share with you an application I've created. It's called Refam, and it is a social networking platform for the real estate investing industry. That means investors, mentors, and professionals that work in the real estate investing industry. And it solves two critical problems. It solves building trust and credibility and becoming searchable, becoming more visible. So if these are things you're looking for, then get into my bio, check out the website because it has that and so much more. The website is realestateinvestorfam.com, and fam is FAM. So hope to see you guys there. It's a lot of fun, a lot of learning. If you're experienced, you're gonna get to be able to show your credibility, become searchable. It's amazing. Now back to the show. On Transformation Time, our guest speakers are real estate investors, and they're here to help you by sharing their journeys. We'll get to hear about how they got into where they are now. We'll get to hear about what are the skills, what are the changes they had to make to get to where they are now. And we'll get to go to the future and see what are they changing now to get to those big goals in the future. So if you guys are ready to bring on Paulina, send her some thumbs up, send her some hearts, and let's get her on here.
Let me just confirm. I always find it weird that I always find it weird that these days Instagram is being very annoying. Oh, there's a lot of people. Hey everyone, just one sec. I'm gonna invite you, Paulina. I just canceled your request and did an invite. See if that works out, or else we may have to start this again. Oh no, we got it. Hey Paulina.
Hello, hello.
How are you? How have you been?
Good, good. I've been good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm awesome. So let's just start with starting for the users to get to know you, the viewers to get to know you. What is your real estate strategy like? How long have you been in? Anything you would like to share?
So it's kind of difficult to talk about myself. Usually I talk about other people when we talk about the deal. But I migrated to Canada 13 years ago. And when I met my husband, I was introduced to real estate very quickly because he was doing renovation, flips, builds, and I always lived through the renovation. I have so many funny stories when we were living in the house and renovating, and we had a flood. It's crazy. So I was very early introduced to the real estate. Also from back home, from Poland, because I came from Poland. Half of my family, they've been in the construction. That's how Polish people are. They are very handy with everything. Uh, so I was always exposed to that side, and of course, then me and my husband, we got married, we had kids, and we start thinking like, what is the next step for us? And honestly, I always see myself in real estate, and I decided to become a real estate agent. So kind of have everything in house because we do have the construction. I'm the agent. We also investing in real estate. So that's how things were progressing. And with every year, we just targeting new goals and push ourselves to do more and grow. At the end of the day, it's all about the growth and sometimes doing things that we are not comfortable with and we don't know them. But without that exposure, we're not gonna grow. So there's always plans to move forward and do something else.
I love it. Yeah, I completely agree with you with the growth thing. It's so you start realizing half the time if you're bored is because you're not learning anything and your mind is like, help, I'm bored. So that's amazing. I love that you said that. And and that's also amazing. So you were in Poland and you had construction. But something I've noticed specifically with my husband, just because he has a renovation business, did you piece together like investing in real estate and construction? Because for my husband, that was actually very separate for him, and I had to get him into the real estate side. So I'm curious to hear about how that was for you.
So first, because we're doing flips and like he was doing flips, I was just the
Ah, okay.
partner then, and I was helping him. Of course, it's easier to call back then a girlfriend, fiance, go get the material. Can you send that invoice? Can you pay the invoice? And not being paid for that. Like, it's just he was using me very quickly for that. But I had nothing, like, I really enjoyed that, to be honest with you. And I learned so much and I saw so much because I live in the house that we are flipping.
Hmm.
I was 7 months pregnant and we are renovating the whole upstairs and thinking about what is next. Are we going to be building? Are we going to be selling? So it's part of my life. And when I decided to become a real estate agent, and also before that, we were buying properties together. And
Hmm.
2015, I would say 2015 was the big change in our strategy because we were like just buying, selling, buying, selling. and
Hmm.
and it's good, but we didn't own anything. And when you're planning a family, when you want to have kids, when you want to grow together, you kind of want to secure the future and you
Hmm.
want to have some kind of legacy for your kids. So that was the time for us that we decided to um, hold some properties. And we are clear. I think it was very spontaneous that we both start doing things together because we already were training. Like, I was training to work with Paul, and then because I start bringing more something else to the table from the investor perspective when it comes to finding the deal as an agent, analyzing the deal from the financial perspective because I also have a financial background, and seeing things like what we can do now and what we can do. And in the meantime, he can bring all the tools and skills in between the process. It was a
Hmm.
very natural process for us. So I think I'm very lucky that both of us, we are in this together. And uh, and we have very similar goals for the future. Yes, it was a process at the beginning because sometimes we didn't see eye to eye. I saw, let's say, when we look at apartment building, I saw so much more potential with the building, when for him was more like, no, I don't think this is the deal. It's not really aligning with our goals. And then we kind of fight a little bit, uh,
It
but
happens, it happens.
yeah, but you know what? The whole process of like doing things together was very natural, and then we had to also find a balance, how we can work
Hmm.
together without, overstepping, and
And trying to kill
understanding
each other, right?
exactly. It is like the marriage. There was lots of compromise too.
Yeah. Actually, you start seeing a lot of parallels, no, within business and marriage. If anything, I felt like, man, in business, especially I would say like that outside of working together, like when I used to work in the corporate world, be like, man, I can implement it into our relationship. Obviously, it doesn't really work that well because it's like the emotions are in there. But it's like there are so many things that you're like, oh, like we should like work on this in our relationship because it would help out so much.
Yeah. A- and you know what? At the end of the day, it's like, okay, we're getting into this, and there's so many connections on different level, and just to find the balance, and then pull all the skills together and just work together.
Mhm. And I think you had some really pivotal things and some differences, which I think is important, like that. Like it sounded like you both had very different skills, which I think is important in a business. And I think it just comes in a relationship. Because I don't know, me and my husband are very different also. But that sounds like you guys had very different skills that really helped each other out because it's like makes you a powerhouse. But on top of that, which I think probably is what keeps you together, is having those common goals too.
Yes.
Because you hear about people they're having their separate goals. And I think those kind of things, like that, a disagreement happens or things get really tough. And it's probably usually like you're not really aligned in your bigger goals that are not related to it. Because, like that, I think in relationships, we are always very different. Like you said, fights will happen because of different minds. And but what keeps it together is that you have that goal together, that you do, like, yes, we're doing this for this purpose, and you both agree to it and accept it and know that you both are passionate about that goal.
100%. And I can tell you, when things goes wrong, everyone is in blame.
Mm-hmm.
When things are good.
Mm-hmm.
And especially now in this market, we can see it. So because me and my husband, we are such a good team and we're doing this together, we cope with the problems together because we
Mm-hmm.
understand also of, you know what, business is not always thriving. There's also ups and downs, and this is part of the
100%.
business. So
Mm-hmm.
there's so much support from both sides. So when I have, a bad day and I'm like, everything is so like, it's so overwhelming. I have so much
Mm-hmm.
support instead of like, oh, I told you we shouldn't do it, or you shouldn't go into this business, or, because I do see couples that are not into this together, and one person is super against, and the other
Mm-hmm.
one wants to do real estate, wants to be investor, wants to be entrepreneur. And I'm thinking like, good for you for going for your dreams and building something together, but you need to bring the other person on board,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
having that support is priceless.
It is, it is. I completely agree with you because like that when you're having the downers, like you said, do you want to have the downers and have them bring you down even more? Or you want them there to support you and be like either, especially with men, right? They're very like solution oriented people, right? It's like they see their woman in distress, I feel like, and they're like, how can I fix this? And they go out there. I don't know, Giancarlo's like that. Like I'll be like, oh my God, this happened. What do I do? And he's already out the door. And I'm like, well, like, can you tell me what the plan is? I don't know. Is it very similar with you?
Yeah,
It's like men are
very
very like
similar.
action-oriented people,
Yes.
no?
Yeah. For me, what is really working is because our personality are like water and fire. I'm
Hmm.
like, wow, getting super excited. I speak a lot with my emotions. When things are happening, I'm getting heated very quickly, and I need that. That's just how I am. I need that 15 minutes
Hmm.
to explode, to like, okay, now I can calm down and I can think. Where my husband's like, okay, let's just talk it out. Let's just see what is the solution. He never focused on like why it happened, what did we wrong,
Hmm.
what is wrong. He's like, okay, so what we can do now, and it really
Hmm.
helps a lot. And it's just like it's just compliment. And like you said, John Carlo is already out of his door, just trying to go and get things done, right? Where you're still in that
Hmm.
mood, but it's really putting the team together and complement each other and brings your best values out in this, right? So
Yeah.
I
And
really
I think
agree.
like that, to be honest, in the bad times of projects or anything going on, I think it's really a good testament on if things are going to work out, to be honest. Because like that, like, do you go into just blaming mode and then just everything shuts down and breaks down? Or is it like conquer divide? Like you're
Yeah.
still probably screaming at each other, but it becomes like a conquer and divide and like, let's get shit done because like there's no other option? And if it's like, if you see that you're there, I feel like, because everyone's going to fight. There's
Yes.
nothing you can do about it? Like things are stressed, people get heated very quickly, especially in those down times, right? But it's like, where does it go? Like, do we just break down and completely stop? Or we're just like, going to the races because there's no other option but success? It's like we're making this happen, whatever it is.
But lots of people are actually focusing what on the problem, like why that
Exactly.
happened, so much blame, so much hate, fighting. And at the end of the day, we can't change the past. It happened.
Yeah,
So what
love
is our
that.
next move? Are we gonna, cry and just be miserable and, affect everyone around us? Where there's a chance 50-50, if I'm gonna stand up, leave that couch and maybe start doing things to improve it, maybe it's gonna be better. Why not to take that chance, right? But I think it's just
Hmm.
also like how we are. Like, like I said, I am very emotional person, so I want to go and crazy for 15 minutes so I can calm down and really
Hmm.
think, what is the next step? What is the
Yeah.
next move, right?
That's funny, yeah. So with me, like if I compare me and my husband's like that. Like he'll get emotional, he'll go through the downers, like he'll think like everything's being blamed on him. And then for me, for example, I'm a person whereas like I'm if anything, I go into a hole. I'm just like, leave me alone. I just need to like figure what the hell's going on with her now. And then it's like, give me like you said, like 15 minutes. And it's just like I need to sulk and figure her out, and then I'm back. And then like that, and then it's either way. And then usually, obviously, the best is obviously not when both are. I feel like if both, like me and Giancarlo have been lucky that we're not both on downers at the same time. So when he goes through his thing, I'm more of like that, like, why do you care about this? Like, I don't want to hear about like the excuses. I'm like, what is the solution? I become very like, we don't have time for this, right? Whereas he'll come to me, like, I'll go like, I need to hide in a hole. And like that, like I tell you, like I'll be like, oh my God, this is the problem. And I go and like hide in a hole, and he like disappears on me, and he's going off to like find the solution to figure it out.
But it's a part of partnership, and it's
Hmm.
business partnership, it's a marriage partnership. When you're down, you need another person to bring your best values, and because you do have the relationship, you know how to do it, right?
Hmm.
And if that person needs, when things are not right, and you're getting a little bit overwhelmed, when you need that scream and say, let's just keep moving, let's just keep going, I got
Hmm.
your back, don't worry, like, you know what, like,
Exactly.
you can just change the whole situation 180 degrees. And
Hmm.
like, not only you also became stronger as a partnership here,
Hmm.
your business is gonna be better, and everything around will be affected by this, good moves, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's like how you learn about each other too. Right? Because for example, like that, like I feel that if like we know each other in the sense of we don't both go into downers because it's like when we see one is more than the other, like that if I see he's going into a downer, I'm kind of like snap out of it. We got to like get moving, like this is like we're not doing this right now. Like we got to move forward, right? Whereas like same thing, like when he knows I go probably let's say in a deeper downer than let's say he is, even maybe we're both going through downers, like he'll just be like, okay, let me just find a solution for her and she'll feel better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just
It's
like it's so important to get to know and identify each other, like how each other works, because like maybe the reason I don't hit, let's say, a downer together with him is more because I see him going to downer, my focus really just goes to him because I'm just like, okay, I don't have time for my little downer because it's probably like not that big of a deal compared to like what it is that we're actually having and it's affecting him more. And then I just go into full on focus on, okay, let's get moving and let's just like take action because like that men are so much more action oriented. So I know like if he's if he's gonna dwell, like he dwells, and I'm just like, no, 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 snap out, we got to get out of this, like let's just like figure out what's the solution so that we can get moving forward.
100%. It's like having that other person that's gonna push you into best direction. And I can tell you, in our partnership with my husband, he's my best motivator. He's my best
Mm-hmm.
critic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's my best supporter. But when I need the kick, I will definitely get a kick.
Exactly. They know
So,
how to push the buttons
yeah,
and the right ones, right? Good and bad,
all good and
right?
bad.
That's hilarious. So you kind of spoke about some of the skills that you came with, that you had like a financial background. Is there any other skills that you felt that helped you to get into real estate and becoming more involved in it?
I think it's just being even exposed to the renovation side, to vision things, how they may look if I'm gonna put some work into this. That's
Mm-hmm.
definitely something that I always use when I go to look at the properties, not only with my clients, but also when I look at the properties that we want to do, or some investments. So there's always that little trick, like, okay, if I'll do this and that, that's going to affect my, I don't know, if it's a rental property, it's going to affect my rent by this much. It's how I'm going to improve this property, how it's going to increase the value. And I always definitely using that, because even sometimes when I look at the houses with the clients, like, oh no, this doesn't look right. I don't like this kitchen. I'm like, listen, That kitchen, you paint those cabinets, you're gonna put the gold handles, it's a very cost efficient. It's gonna change the look drastically. You're gonna put some stainless steel
Mm-hmm.
appliances. So it's definitely that it's something helping me in my business. Financial background, I think the way I also analyze the buildings, how I look at the numbers, and this is and it's actually crazy because when I look at the numbers, it's just pure numbers. There's nothing else. If the numbers doesn't work, they
Mm-hmm.
don't work. You don't make the numbers work.
Exactly. Yes.
And
Totally
yes,
agree with you. I love that. And it's just like you can trust them. It's
yeah,
like there's no emotional behind it. It's just like, and you go even with that offer, like this is literally my best offer because this is how the numbers work, and you just feel more objective about it instead of getting emotional and being like, oh no, but I really want it.
yeah,
And then you start compromising.
yeah. But once you compromise and you don't have enough room for mistake, it definitely the outcome is not gonna be nice. So when you look
Mm-hmm.
at from the investment perspective, from the investor side, it's all about the numbers. So you need to be very, and again, those numbers they have to align with your goals because me
Mm-hmm.
as an investor, I don't have the same goals as you, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I will look at some properties a little bit different. So they have to align with like what are we doing here, what is our next step, like what is our goal
Mm-hmm.
from all of this.
100%.
So definitely you need to be, you need to kind of be strict with that. And what I find out also, you have to listen to your gut sometimes, like if you know
Yes.
which is like the right one, like know that you, oh, I love the place, I want to buy it. But sometimes I notice the first feeling is always the right feeling with me when I look at the building, and sometimes the numbers are not really as good as I would like to, but I look at the building and the building is nice. It's good. I see potential, but I was in a situation, was looking at the building, and I'm like, I love the building, everything is good, but something's not right. Something is not right with that building. And then the environmental was not clean. So I'm like, oh my
Mm-hmm.
God, this is just another sign, right? So
Exactly.
I think the renovation side, I think that my financial background, and what also helps me that I'm also investor. I know I've been doing this before, and now as an agent, I can put all the skills together, and that can definitely help me in my business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing. And I think another skill is just like that. Like, yes, you have your community of investors, which we all learn from each other and learn different styles. But just being a realtor, you get to see a lot of that on that side too, especially if you're focused on the investors, because then you meet even more people. You get to see even more different strategies on how they do things. And I'm sure you've probably even learned from people that have purchased properties through you that or even sold them, how it went. So it's even you get to see a lot more projects going on as a realtor too, which kind of shows you kind of proof of concept of a lot of things. Like, oh, they did it this way, I never thought of it. And then, you kind of like, oh, I'll keep it in mind, let's say for my property or something.
Yeah, definitely. At the end of the day, if you have the most exposure to real estate and connect the most people you can, it always will help you because um, sometimes we don't even think about the little things that other people are using in their strategies, and it can affect the deal, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
I was I was talking to one of this investor, and we all talking about implementing some, efficient side for the plumbing system to decrease the bills. And he implemented some, I forgot even the name of that system, but anyways, he was able to decrease the bills even more than just to adding the low flow system. And it's just, I would never ever think about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So definitely exposure to the most people you can, exposure to the real estate and seeing things from both sides, it sometimes is very beneficial.
Yes, actually, that's another good point is that you do get to see things from two sides. You get to see it as like the realtor seeing other people, and you also get to see it as you yourself doing it, which I think actually, if anything, I feel like you being an investor probably helps you more as a realtor too, because you understand why people are doing the things they're doing. Because I feel like usually a lot of, and that's why I feel like we always say like go to a investor specific realtor because of exactly that. Like you talk to another person, I feel like they're talking, you think like they think you're talking Chinese to them because they're just like, you're so unrealistic, you have no idea what you're talking about. And they're so used to just like the real estate side of things, which is so different than when you're running real estate as a business.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And uh, I was actually, I had a situation, was looking at some property with one of the clients, and I hear the ideas, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. And in my head, it's like, ching, ching, that's not bringing you any more than whatever you have to put in. Like, because I think that over renovation is such a big thing too,
Yes,
especially with the,
newer investors.
with the investors who are starting. And I got it. We all want to have this beautiful building, or, if it's a duplex, a triplex, even if it's a house, and just, create this beautiful space. But at the end of the day, if you're going to treat this as a business, and you just going to be, your main goal is to rent the place, you're not going to be putting high-end finishes. Uh,
Yes.
of course, there's a market, there's different markets, different location, different tenants pool that you have to consider while you're renovating your property.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear some crazy budgets for renovation, where I know I'll get it done in half price, because guess what? You're gonna get the same rental for the same money. You're not
Exactly.
getting more.
Yeah.
And next year or next 2 years, whatever that person's ready to move out, you have to do light renovation again. Maybe even not, maybe even more than light renovation, because sometimes, you're not getting your units back in the same shape as you're giving them. So there's gonna be,
Mm-hmm.
so you're gonna see some usage there, right? So I think
Mm-hmm.
it's very important to kind of, especially for young investors, just to have those conversations and see, like, talk to someone who is doing this for a little bit longer. Like, what is your idea? Because you can really change the investment from being a good investment to something that is just, taking money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And it's just like not following any like business rules to say
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
profiting rules. So what kind of getting into this, and like you said, so it sounded like actually your husband was an investor already because his construction business was actually was it was just specifically for his flips then, right?
Yes, that's how he started when he was a young boy, and
Mm-hmm.
I guess I guess maybe it's a stereotype, I don't know, but lots of Polish people are in construction. So when he was young,
Mm-hmm. But
that
he
was
was
his.
buying the properties for himself and flipping for himself, right? You're
Yes,
saying that was what he
yeah.
was doing. And so for you getting into that environment, what type of mindset shift did you have? For example, like getting into that with him and seeing him flip houses, and then I'm sure again even leveling up and like start more working together or leveling up in your real estate side of things. Like you said,
Mm,
because you went from flipping to being able to like hold houses and keep them
yeah.
for long term.
You know what? I think at the early stage of our relationship, it was just a nice thing to look at and be part of it. When you're young, when you don't have kids, things are just like come so easy, and you're like, okay, don't worry, we'll just get it done, it's fine, and you don't really think ahead, right? When things get a little bit more serious, and I'm being more of a part of this business, and also the future plans with, having a family, then there was a little bit of sometimes this fear,
Mm.
with, okay, but what about if this? What about if that will happen, right? So I think
Mm-hmm.
that over the years, my mindset changed drastically from basically having no mindset. It's saying, like, going day by day. That's what I mean. Going day by day, figure this out. There is no worry. There's no responsibility. It's fun time. You are young. You're just living your life. That's what it is. And I think we were in that predicament before, right?
Mm-hmm.
To the mindset that little bit being afraid, like, how that's going to affect my life, how that's going to affect my kids, what about if I will do this big mistake and it's going to cost me so much money, to the point where I am right now, of seeing things maybe happened for a reason. Things maybe are
Mm-hmm.
happening for us to be better as me, Paulina, be just better, and be better as an investor, and better as a mom, a wife, just to use more this mindset of, you know what, maybe not everything will be good that is going to happen to you, but you know what, you're going to figure this out and things will be good, right?
Mm-hmm, hmm. And even, yeah, I love that. And basically, like that transition into having kids, like you said, brought fears. So what kind of things did you like, what kind of tips do you have for the viewers to be able to, like, what did you do to get rid of those fears? Because it is true, like you said, like once you have a family, like you feel a lot more responsible. Like when it's just the two of you, you're just like, well, if we have to sleep in a trailer because we screwed up,
It's
you're
fine.
like, we figure it out, like we screwed up, it's our fault, and we live with the consequences, right? But then you don't feel, but you won't do that. Let's say, like you said, like once you have a family, you're like, no, 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 I
Yeah.
probably don't want to do that. So how did you get rid of those fears?
Ha, you know what? Actually, this is a good question. Makes me think right now because I don't have a really straight answer. I think the biggest part is my husband because he's a go-getter, like basically, and he was always in real estate and always see the potential. There's always some kind of a security in any form. So I think the biggest part was him, but also on the other hand was things that I always want more. And
Mm-hmm.
and of course we always saying like it's not like you want more, but like I want more to do and do more so I can achieve my goals. Because
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, it's all about your end results. It's not about what it's today. Even the same thing with my work. Whatever I'm putting right now in my work, I will see results in the next 2, 3, 4 months. I'm not gonna see the results right away. And
Mm-hmm.
I think having this picture, this vision of doing something more, like why I'm not gonna even try. Like if you not try 100%, you're not achieving anything. But if you
Mm-hmm.
make the first step, guess what? 50-50 chances you may achieve or not. You have
Mm-hmm.
like, it's what? You're just gonna get better or you're gonna be in the same position where you are right now. So why
Mm-hmm.
not to take that chance, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah. So
yeah,
it's interesting. So it felt like for you then it was one of them was, if anything, your husband gave you actually confidence. So
yes,
he helped you, I feel like, because that is actually a big thing. A lot of people say one of the biggest things that help people move forward is having confidence. So you got your confidence from feeling that your husband had confidence to
yes,
move forward, which I think that is very important, and that is the almost like that is the definition of, because it's like he gives you the faith and the belief that you can do what it is that you can do, and that he'll like back you up, which is confidence.
yeah,
And like that,
yeah.
when you have confidence, you're ready to go to the races.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's why
Hmm.
that's why I have to say I'm very lucky having a partner that really can support me and always push me and always believe in me.
Hmm.
So I can get rid of my fears and I can make that step, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I'm very lucky here.
Yeah, that's amazing because that is important to have that. Again, it comes to like you need to have someone with you that works with you and not like works against you.
Works again.
Yeah.
100%.
And so now that you're going forward into your big goals, like feel free to tell us what your big goal is now, and what are the things that you're changing right now to get to those big goals?
Mhm. Uh, my big goals, and I've been that's been actually my goal for some time because y- with the business, with the being investor, with being an agent, having the family, I think a balance and balance. It's something that we always saying, oh, we have to balance. Oh, depends like whatever your goals are, but honestly, I don't balance. That's
Hmm.
the something that, and when I'm saying I want to balance more, it's not that I want to create the perfect solution. Let's say I'm gonna be doing things this way, but one day having the balance that I'm gonna give 60%, 70% to my business and 30% to my kids. The other day it will be other way. My kids will get 70% and 30% because at the end of the day, the life is busy. Kids,
Hmm.
we have things to do with the kids. We still have to work on our business. When you want to grow, you also have to find the time to be able to give something to yourself because the burnouts are
Hmm.
real. Like
Yes.
you can really be so drained and take all this energy because you feel so overwhelmed. Like you can't do things at the same time. And you have big plans. Like you want to be perfect at this, and that. And guess what? You cannot be perfect at everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for me, and I've been saying this for the probably for a little bit, I want to learn how to be how to work on my balance that I feel it's a fair balance to everything that I'm doing in my life. Uh,
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. I
yeah,
love that.
that's just something first that I want to work with. And
Mm-hmm.
my big goals is we all saying about financial freedom. We all saying
Mm-hmm.
about uh, having ability to do things when you want, how you want, when you want. I think my goal for the next between 5 to 10 years is that because I feel like I'm still too young to be too free. I like to be busy.
But freedom can be the freedom to do the things that you actually want
Yes,
to do. Like a lot of
exactly.
people are, for example, I do know that there are people that are just doing real estate to get to an actual, let's say, hobby that is actually not related to real estate. And then there are people that are, for example, love real estate and want to be in real estate. Um, and even their freedom is just the freedom to work in the speed that they want to work at real estate because it's not about the money that you have to like right now it's like you're saying, right? It's like we have to work for that money because we need to generate it, but it's the freedom is that the money is generating and you can work in real estate if you want to, or you can take breaks if you want to.
Yeah,
Hmm.
100%. But for me, it's also like in the from the investor perspective is to grow the portfolio, but a good quality portfolio.
Hmm.
Um, because uh, we may say that like, oh, I own this many doors, I own so many of that, but another question is what kind of a portfolio you have, what is your ownership in that portfolio.
Hmm.
So my next goal besides balancing everything, that my family is happy and I still have time to grow my business, me as an investor, and doing all the things I love. It's another thing just to create a portfolio that will give me that freedom of doing things, um, the other things that we want to do, or maybe discover a new hobby.
Yeah, you never know, right? And it's really funny. I mean, I feel like this is a preview for people just because I went through this. Is that when, and not that I'm saying that I'm in like fully financial freedom, but I've gone, but I think it will be the same thing when you go to freedom because I went from corporate world to running a business and I was making good enough money. Like I was making pretty good money, but you go into also like I went into a chaos type of thing because it was like almost like who am I now? Like either like what do I want to do? Because I set my money goals because I was like, man, if I could make all this money part time, I was like, my God, how much money can I make full time? I can tell you that year I barely increased my income because it wasn't anymore about the money. It was more about like it was just kind of like who is Diana
Yeah.
and what am I working like what am I actually working for? Like what actually stimulates me to want to work? So I feel like I'm just like watch out. I feel like that happens with everyone. You know, you go through like a chaos in
Yeah.
life of just like, oh my God, like who am I? You
But
know, I'm so
sometimes
used to the employee Diana that now it's like who's the entrepreneur Diana?
we need that chaos. I don't know,
Hmm.
like at least that how it works sometimes with me. I need a little bit of chaos in my life so I can just snap and like, okay, this is what we're doing.
Hmm.
This is how I'm gonna be putting stuff together, and this is the structure. So sometimes chaos can be a good thing. We just can't
Hmm.
really dive it too much into this because what it's
Hmm.
gonna take you is gonna take it all of you from you, right? So
Hmm. Yeah, I love that. And you're right, it is, right? Because it puts you in this questioning mode, like who am I, what it is. But then the point is because you start figuring out all that stuff,
yeah,
right? It's like, who is this? And like you said, which is what you said at the very beginning, the growth, right?
yeah.
Then you start, okay, what's my new growth path? Because if we all look deep down as people, we all want to grow. is just finding out what it is that we want to grow in and who do we want to become and what do we
100%.
want to experience. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that.
and I think I think that is also the moments in our life that we can stop and we can look back too. Because I didn't really practice gratitude for a long time. And of course, we always were saying, I'm so happy and so grateful for this, and that. But I didn't really was able to really sink in this and really think about the
Mm-hmm.
stuff. I was in a situation when things were difficult and I was stressing out. And it was just one of the projects we had, and at the end of the day, it actually everything turns fine.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something that makes me realize, like, look, I was stressing out so much. The things were so bad. Yeah, it took some time, but look where I am right now. Look what we did. Look what we
Mm-hmm.
achieved. Look what we learned from that, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
I love that.
so
And
sometimes,
that's like skills that you're even saying that you have, you're persistent and you didn't give up. You
yeah,
kept on going. Like, yes, it's stressful, but it's like you keep on moving
yeah,
forward, be it like a lot of big steps or super baby steps, but you keep on
yeah,
going in the direction you want to
yeah,
go in.
100%. It doesn't matter like how big the step is. Make sure it's always in front of you, not that you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
double in the back. So it's always those moments will remind you that you're capable of doing things and you can overcome everything. I understand, like, nowadays things are like, we see what is happening with the economy. Very simple example, right?
Mm-hmm.
People are suffering. There's so many investors who are losing cash flow, for going from massive positive cash flow to negative cash flow. There is just people who are not investing in real estate. They feel the cost of living, they feel the
Mm-hmm.
mortgage payments, and there's so much uncertainty there, and there's so much fear there. But we and I understand there's a lot on the line. But at the end of the day, it's just a moment of their life. If we can all go through it, things not
Mm-hmm.
gonna be always forever that bad, right? So a little bit
Exactly.
of a little bit of a positivism in here. Maybe things that you can think, how I can improve this, or just to improve to survive these bad moments, right? And then after
Mm-hmm.
that whole storm will pass, you'll be like, oh damn, I did it. It's fine. We went through it. We good.
Mm-hmm. 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 And even I'm sure that you probably like that you're going through the bad times, but also I feel like having the community around you too helps out to make you think, because I feel like sometimes, for example, like yes, you're working hard at getting it done together, you and your husband, but the thing is you guys are also both in the problem, and sometimes you feel like you have the blinders to what the solution is, right? And so it's like having that bigger community to be able to either just get a second, like make you feel better,
Yeah.
or to help you give solutions, be like, I'm going through this problem, and just
Yeah.
get other people's
Yeah.
complete this perspectives helps out
Hun-
too.
100%. And I'm saying that to everyone who, like people in real estate, within our real estate community. If you are not doing well right now, reach out to people who are doing this for longer than you, who went through some market changes, and maybe they're a little bit different scale right now. But guess what? They went through this problem, and maybe they will have some ways, like they will maybe give you some ideas how they can help you. And you know what, maybe it's gonna be the person that you can now freely speak about your fears and your struggles, and there is no shame to it. Because I'm finding right now there's still, like, there's lots of shame with some investors, that they're not doing well. But
Mm-hmm.
you're not the only one. There's so
Mm-hmm.
many that are struggling. So
Yes.
I think that having that community who are actually in a similar business, so they can also talk you, they can understand you. They may be going through the same struggles, and you can just simply have that good one-on-one conversation.
I love that. I think, and that's so important because, like you're saying, is just we all understand the struggles that we go through. If we're not, let's say, going through it now, we went through it before, and we understand the pains that come with it. And like you said, it's like we all, I feel like, at least in the communities that we're in, I do feel like our community are at least good, where it's like that positive mindset, where it's not about, see, I told you so, or, like, you suck and I win. I don't know. Like it's like you get into this, like, oh my God, like you want to help, like you feel like it becomes like family, right? Because it's like you understand each other, you're entrepreneurs, you're all striving to get there, and it's just like you want to help each other out. And it's also, I personally like hearing the problems that come up, because you also learn from it too. It's just like, oh, you did this, okay, like you work on the solution, but it's also, okay, note to self, make sure not to do that myself, like it's just like you
Yeah.
get so many benefits in different ways. Like you help people out, but also you're learning from other people's mistakes too, and everyone's learning from everyone. And everyone creates even different problems that you may never create, but it's good to know, because you're like, maybe in the future it comes up and you've already learned that mistake from someone else.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And it's, being with around people, like-minded people and people who are doing things like similar to what I'm doing and understand what I'm talking about. Because
Hmm.
guess what? I can call, I don't know, my family member and talking about the mortgages and they telling me I'm
Yeah.
crazy. When you want to talk
Exactly.
to investors, like, oh, how many mortgages do you have? Past this number or that number. It's like, yeah, it's different mindset, different ways,
Oh,
right? So
100%.
so having people around you that understand you on on you guys, like, on that same business, or like, not even same business, because business is business. The
Yeah.
foundations are very similar for any kind of a business, but just
Hmm.
having that mindset about focusing what you can do, not what is happening, like what happened,
Hmm.
right? And
Mm.
having that support, I think it's very beneficial. It's very good to be
Yeah.
within that support group.
Yeah, I love it. I completely agree with you. It is so important, and like that is just, and you get to know who to talk to and not. So if you do have a bad experience with an investor and maybe they're just fully judging you, probably go somewhere else, because there are a lot of us out there that love to help and love to support in whatever way we can, because we understand like that the importance of mindset is so critical to getting anywhere. Even for us to grow, we know importance of mindset, right? And it's just like, so it's like finding those people that are in that they want to help out mode and not
Yeah.
bring you down,
But
because they're in a different vibration.
oh yeah. And honestly, Diana, do you really need negative energy in your life? At the end of the day, it's
Hmm.
about the growth, like what do you want to do? What is your, what is your future plans? If you're gonna have that negative energy, it's gonna drain you. It's gonna take your plans away, because then you're gonna start doubting in yourself, like, is this is something that I can do? Like, you're already cutting your chances. So, and
Hmm.
there's so, like you said, there's so many good people around you that will support you, will listen to you, no judgment,
Hmm.
no criticism. They would just basically listen, that, you know what, this is the people you want to be around.
Yeah, I love it. Because I don't know about you, I'm probably sure that you've also seen it too. That one of the things, for example, that was so hard for me to, let's say, get into real estate or start a business, because I was always actually very entrepreneur mindset oriented, where I wanted to start something, was that feeling of like the competition and the negative side of competition, where it's like you got to work on it alone, people are just going to rip you off, and so it's, and where it's like these communities that at least we're a part of, it's like the complete opposite. Were you, did you see that kind of thing too? Or
Yes.
how was your experience in that sense?
Yeah. Um, you know what? When I was going into even real estate, I thought that, being a realtor, being within the brokerage, you can work with other people, just putting things together to benefit everyone, right? And I'm finding it's not always the case. It's just basically one-on-one. And everyone was telling me that from the day one. I knew that, but I thought that from in my head was like, together we can do more.
Mm-hmm.
So why not to do more instead of doing little just as one, right? And there's lots of competition. Even till today, I see, people are competing among each other. They in the conversation, and I was part of this group. We were just chatting, and there was two other agents, so there's like three of us, and those two agents were literally cutting each other off from the conversation because they thought they're getting a client. I'm like, this is not the place to do it. It's so obvious. And competition is a real thing, but also competition comes lots of from insecurities as well. Because I think there's enough meat on the bone for everyone. There's enough business out there. If you are willing to do things and work hard, it's gonna come to you. There's no need to competing. It's competition has its other part where maybe it can be a healthy competition, but only if it's bringing the best out of you. I work harder, I do better, I do this, I'm growing. Like, it's if that's benefits you as a person because you're growing, not because you're trying to destroy other person to grow your business. That's a different story, right? But I think, like I said, I think there's enough meat on the bone for everyone. And there's room for every business, for everyone to make the business.
I love it. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, completely agree with you. Any final comments or notes to the viewer that you would like to share?
um I think I just want to say that um start maybe seeing things differently than what is happening right now. Having a little bit of a window that options are there, and not to focus on all negative sides. Take day by day, but also try to be more positive and find more focus on the what I can do more better to be better.
Love it. Thanks so much for the advice. Thanks for coming on. If
Thank
you
you so
guys
much.
loved what you heard from Paulina, she's going to be tagged on here. So you'll be able to follow her. You'll be able to see what she's up to. And if you loved my show and you're not following me already, definitely follow me so you can see all the shows we've got going on. And yeah, thank you so much, Paulina. It was so much
Thank you
fun to
so much.
chat with
Thanks
you.
for having me.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Hope to see you all the next
Take care.
episode. Bye,
Bye bye.
everyone.